She fit what? Excuse me, and welcome to Mr. Mac Plays Bridge. When I first got serious about bridge, I had heard that you can't really be good until you have rubber bridge down cold. By rubber bridge, I don't mean the friendly kind of game you play at home with family and friends. Tournament players sneer at that and call it kitchen bridge. I mean serious money bridge. At the time, there were two rubber bridge games in town. One was conducted by G. Robert Bobby Nail, a former almost world champion. Nail's game started at 2 cents a point and went up from there. I couldn't play in Nail's game. On a bad day in a game like that, you could easily lose several hundred in a short amount of time, and I simply could not afford that. So I decided to get my bridge education at the studio. Steve, the guy that owned the studio, ran a duplicate in a large main room, and in a small back room ran a penny point game of reverse Chicago. If you're unfamiliar with Chicago, it's scored at total points, but the rubber only lasts for 4 deals. Vulnerability is arbitrary depending on which deal it is. In reverse Chicago, it's neither on the first deal, dealer not on the second and third deals, and both sides vulnerable on the fourth deal. When I sat down at the table, we drew cards for partners and seats. I drew the high card, and Steve drew the second highest card. So we would play as partners for the first rubber, and I would deal the first hand. At my left sat Jim, a middle-aged guy who was always laughing and joking. He had clever lines like, "Come on, partner, let's teach them some humidity." What can one say? At my right sat Joe, an obviously working-class guy. He had rough-looking hands and wore faded khakis top and bottom. Back in the heyday of bridge, it was not unusual for working-class people to play. But today that is not true. So Joe really stood out in this game. Here's what I dealt myself. Not a particularly good hand, so I passed. Jim opened 1 club, Steve overcalled 1 heart, and when it came back to me, I bid 1 spade. I think it's wrong not to bid spades when you have an easy opportunity. This went back to Steve, who now bid their suit, 2 clubs. Did he mean this as a cue bid? Natural? I had no idea, but Joe saved me with his delayed intervention of 2 diamonds. This went back around to Steve, who now gave a delayed raise to 3 spades. When this came back to me, I went forward for 3 reasons. The internal solidity of my spades was good. I had a perfect holding in his suit, plus I had length in the suit bid on my right, which is always a positive development. So I bid 4 spades. It was time for Jim to make the opening lead. He came forth with the king of diamonds, and when Steve put down the dummy, I was not a happy camper. I had really hoped for more than this, like the king of clubs instead of the queen, or the queen of hearts instead of the jack. As it was, this was going to be a tough play, even with a perfect lie of the defender's cards. I played the board's diamond, Joe signaled with the 5, and I followed suit. As Joe gathered in the trick for the defense, Jim thought a long time before playing to trick 2. What I hoped was that he would play a spade. Then I would run that around to the jack, which would probably work, play a low heart to the jack, which I hoped would work, a low heart to the king, another spade finesse, the ace of spades to draw the last trump, and then run the remaining hearts for 10 tricks total. 4 spades bid and made. Damn, Jim led another diamond. That put the kibosh on any kind of control play. By control play, I mean drawing trumps and running a side suit. So I was going to have to come up with some some creative line of play, probably a scramble, which would involve help from a defender. I trumped the diamond with the board's 3 of spades, and then played the suit that I did not plan to ruff, which was hearts. I started with a heart from the board and won with the king in my hand. Then I played a heart towards the board. Jim played low, and I put in the jack, and it worked. Then I prayed for rain and played the ace of hearts, hoping that both defenders would follow. They did, and I discarded a club. The straightforward play at this point would have been to lead a club, but I was afraid if I did that, no matter which defender won the trick, that somebody would slap a trump lead into things and really screw things up. So instead, I tried something sneaky. I led the 4th heart from the board. Joe put in the 2 of spades, and I discarded a club, as did Jim. There was a long pause in the play. Joe didn't realize that he'd won the trick. So I turned to him and said, "Joe, it's your lead." He looked at the gathered up trick like it was a snake and then led the king of clubs. I liked that a lot. I trumped that with the 4 of spades and then led a diamond, trumping with the board's queen of spades, knowing that he could not over-ruff after having bid diamonds. Next, I led a club from the board and trumped with the 6 of spades, and now I had them. I led my last diamond and trumped with the board's ace of spades, and then claimed the remainder of the tricks. We already had 8 tricks in the bag, and we had to take 2 more by force, losing only to the king of spades, for a total of 10 tricks, so we made 4 spades. Here's the situation Joe faced at trick 7. The winning play is to lead a spade, but he choked when he saw that ace-queen on the board. We all have it hammered into us when we first learn to play, not to declare a free finesse. But in this case, it can't be a free finesse. Either I have the king of spades and there's no finesse play involved at all, or else Jim has the king of spades and it's always onside. So leading a spade can never blow a trick, and that's what he should have done. Here's the original deal.